Hello my friends, Simon Miller here, and yes, I have seen the Barbie movie. Obviously, otherwise why would I be making this video? To give you a headline of my experience though, if you had told me afterwards that somebody had snuck into the theatre and put a drug in my drink, and then I had proceeded to watch this thing, I would have turned and gone, that makes total sense. Because this is truly a roller coaster of an experience, and in many ways I'm actually disappointed that I had an idea of what the concept was before I did indeed go into the cinema. And if you do not know, turn this video off right now, book a ticket to go and see it, and honestly, halfway through, you'll be looking around thinking, am I the only one seeing this, or is something nuts happening? Here is the deal though, Barbie Land exists, and within Barbie Land, all the Barbies think that their existence in the real world has ensured that we have sexual equality and that everything is peaches and cream. Sadly, this is when stereotypical Barbie, played by Margot Robbie, accidentally opens up a portal between Barbie Land and the real world. So yes, she has to go and fix it. This happens because whoever is playing with her on our planet is having thoughts of sadness and death and depression, which means the Barbie in the Barbie land feels the same way. And the only way to get rid of these negative thoughts is to come together and remember why you were playing with Barbie in the first place. I tell you, it's the greatest movie ever made. What's even worse is that stereotypical Barbie now has flat feet, which is not a thing, so she has to go to weird Barbie, a Barbie who has been played with too much to learn about all these trinkets. Just give it a round of applause. Obviously, we need to get a Ken involved because there's multiple versions of Ken in this film, which is when Ryan Gosling's Ken sneaks into the car that Barbie is driving to go to the real world, and after some deliberation, they decide to experience it together. I mean, look at this smile on my face. It kind of does go bad as soon as they arrive, though, because while Barbie is catcalled, sexualized, and basically treated like a second-class citizen, all of a sudden Ken, who in Barbie Land has always felt disrespected, feels as if, wow, here, I am the greatest person in the world. So hopefully you can see the message here, and if not, I would advise you stay in your bubble, because I bet it's nice, safe, and warm, and you never get down about anything. Ken, during all of this, also learns about the patriarchy. When he goes back to Barbie Land, he introduces this to the other Kens and to the other Barbies, to the point when Barbie returns with the person who's been playing with her in the real world, and that person's daughter is like, oh no, you have completely destroyed the structure here, and much like planet Earth, men are now ruling everything. I mean, how they got all this into a Barbie movie, I don't know, but once again, just give it the Oscar. It also means now, instead of Barbie's dream house, we have Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa, which is one of the greatest things in the thing, as well as people explaining why The Godfather is one of the best movies ever made. I mean, as well as all of this, you also have executives from Mattel trying to chase Barbie down after learning that she has got out of Barbie Land. And the real interesting part about that is that Mattel, who obviously make Barbie and obviously must have signed off on this movie, have terrific self-awareness. Because if you want to make the argument that in many ways they're the villain of the piece, yeah, I totally get it. Because not in my wildest dreams did I ever think we'd take a mass market toy and be able to be so unconventional with it, but it's actually super smart. I mean, you could almost hear the audience going, you guys, you're so damn silly, so when you do come out on the other side, you just feel positive about everyone. So that's mission success. It is also genuinely funny. I mean, Robbie is absolutely perfect in the role, and Ryan Gosling now has another entry in my list of I think you're becoming one of my favorite actors. Because that guy just doesn't care, and that guy will do whatever you ask of him, I presume as long as he thinks it's entertaining. Even Helen Mirren as the narrator has some proper laugh-out-loud lines, and the advert for a depressed Barbie that just watches Pride and Prejudice and eats ice cream, well, that's going to go down in the history of movies. It's very, very amusing. I mean, admittedly, the plot is all over the place. We jump from one scene to the next with barely any thread running through it, but that's obviously intentional because it just wants you to take away two things. One, it hopes you had a good time, and two, that women have been treated terribly for a long-ass time. Now, right away, of course, some men have been leaving reviews saying, this feminist garbage is going to be the end of all of us. And what I really hope is that one day irony sneaks up on you and taps you on the shoulder and you understand. Now, I'm not going to go on about this because I'm well aware I'm a bald white man, but never forget that representation in all forms of entertainment is super duper important. So to see a movie like this tackle it, but also just introduce so much surrealism, well, I thought it was absolutely faboo. And also, it's not like you can argue with any of it unless you're insane. It's all true. As this is a fitness channel by large, I also think we do need to focus on Ken, played by Ryan Gosling, and his abs, because I tell you, I don't know how much is going to be made of this, but that guy has got himself into super duper shape to the point that even though it's like a 2-hour movie, often he is wearing clothes where you can see his abdominal muscles, and they're there the entire time, just looking at you. So this dude must be right down there in body fat, and there's even a scene where he starts to sing his song, which again, another reason why the movie is so good, and he is sat down. But do those abs go anywhere? Of course they don't. This dude is jacked. There's also a massive fight between all the Kens at the end of the movie that will blow your mind because it is so crazy. And we should also mention Michael Cera, who does play Alan. Nobody else on the planet would have been able to do it as well as he have. And during one scene where all of a sudden he just goes kung fu on all of these other Kens and is totally underplayed, well, it's a 10 out of 10 experience. So ultimately, I just had fun watching it, and the messages it does get out there aren't really shouted this loudly in other mainstream movies. Of course, me saying that will piss a lot of people off, but that is entirely the point. Like, a bunch of people didn't just go and make this up, and a bunch of people didn't watch it and go, man, can I relate to that? Usually that happens because it's accurate. You may even call it evidence. I mean, it's so ridiculous and unique, the worst thing we could do here would be to make a sequel, because that just wouldn't tie into the foundations that we've placed. And I imagine that is going to happen just because it's going to make a bunch of money. But if you do, it has to be completely separate to this experience. I mean, there is no way you can tie anyway. So you should come up with something even more ridiculous and see if you can pull it off. At the very least, I will appreciate the attempt. So it is every bit as good as some of the reviews have made out, and it made me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. I massively appreciate that I can use that here, because it's the first time in a video where I can drop that phrase, and it totally ties into the subject matter of the video. And that is the feel of the entire thing. Let's be as silly as we possibly can, because deep down, who really wants to grow up? For those losing it too, yes, I'm also going to see Oppenheimer this week, and I will review that as well, should you so care. Although the feel of that video is probably going to be a lot different. Maybe me just telling you about how we're all doomed and that the end is nigh seems appropriate. Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below and let me know how much you hate me and your opinion on the Barbie movie. That would be interesting. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. There will be one of my fitness videos on the screen right now, probably the secret method to building muscle that you never knew about. And yes, this is said with an ironic twist. And of course, you can go to grillermind.com/Simon and use the code Simon to get 10% off. And these are supplements I use. And probably supplements that will maybe help you look like Ken. I mean, you're going to have to do a lot of dieting too. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at Simon316, patreon.com/Simon316. I have merchandise at Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics. And if you would like a personalized video, you can go to cameo.com and search my name. But otherwise, please do interact with this video as much as you possibly can because YouTube loves that. Have a good day. See the Barbie movie if you are so inclined. I think you will enjoy yourself. Goodbye.